It is Monday, June 1st, 2026, and this is The High Road, Logistics and Leadership. I'm Elena Rossi, and I'm here to ensure that every mile you run is covered by more than just hope.
This is Jules Sterling.
I'm Dan Miller.
And I'm Buck Reynolds. We have a great show for you today.
Yesterday, we covered the total blackout of the federal agency's new trucking system, which is still a disaster, and that unseasonable surge in ocean rates. We also touched on the Supreme Court's major ruling against broker liability and the delay on the Union Pacific and Norfolk Southern merger. Today, the theme is the Great Filter. We are looking at a market that is finally weeding out the weak, from digital enforcement at the border to a 90-second AI revolution that is rewriting the rules of the summer peak.
Honestly, it feels like we're entering this summer of efficiency, right? I mean, I was looking at the latest research, and some of these top-tier 3PLs are seeing AI processing times drop from literal hours to, get this, under 90 seconds.
That's a 2-minute drill on steroids, Jules. Look, the bottom line is that the tech isn't just a nice-to-have anymore. It's the only way to keep your head above water when load density is jumping nearly 20%.
Well, efficiency is great until it becomes a liability. Actually, Public Safety Canada just released a memo this morning. It's quite concerning, warning that connected vehicles and drones are essentially gold mines for foreign adversaries. We're talking about intelligence value.
I mean, I've been saying this for years. You load these rigs up with enough sensors to see through a brick wall, and you're just handing the keys to anyone with a laptop. I'm telling you, I'd take a 94 Peterbilt with a manual logbook over a truck that's essentially a rolling spy satellite any day.
Oh, I know, Buck, but think about the nearshoring. ENF Technology just confirmed they're starting full-scale supply for Samsung's new semiconductor plant in Taylor, Texas today. That's real cargo moving on real roads.
It's a home game,
Assuming
Buck.
they can clear customs. Which brings us to our next major hurdle. And if you're moving freight south of the border today, I hope your paperwork is more than just mostly correct. Today, June 1st, is the hard deadline for the Mexican National Customs Agency, ANM, and the SAT, the grace period for the Manifestación de Valor Electrónica, or MVE, is officially over. No more warnings, no more "we'll fix it next time."
I was talking to a retail client this morning, and they were absolutely panicking about the Cartaporte 3.1 integration. Is it true that a mistake now counts as smuggling?
Precisely. If that electronic bill of lading doesn't perfectly match the digital tax invoice, the SAT has the legal authority to seize the goods immediately. It's not just a fine anymore. It's a forfeiture. Actually, the fines themselves have jumped from 10% of the value to, well, let's just say they're punitive now.
Smuggling? I mean, for a typo? That's like getting a felony charge because your mud flaps are an inch too high. That's heavy-handed, Elena.
Look, Buck, it's a power play. Mexico is the top trade partner now. They know they have the leverage, so they're forcing a digital transparency that we haven't seen in 30 years. It's high-stakes chess, and the Mexican government just put everyone in check.
Right? And it's not just the paperwork. It's the KYC, the Know Your Customer audits. Brokers are being forced to act like investigators.
And that's my point. Compliance is the precursor to catastrophe. If you haven't audited your Mexican suppliers by this morning, you see, you aren't just late. You're out of the game.
Well, speaking of games, I'm looking at the rail situation up north. The IBEW signals and comms workers walked off the job at CPKC yesterday morning.
8 a.m. on a Sunday? Talk about a surprise blitz.
The thing is, these 300 guys are the ones who keep the lights green from Vancouver to Montreal. They had a 96% strike mandate, Dan. That's not just a small disagreement. That's a total breakdown in the huddle.
But Buck, hasn't CPKC said operations are continuing? I heard they had contingency plans.
They do, but, how long can you run a transnational railroad on supervisors and office staff? You can't just teach a desk jockey how to repair a complex signaling relay in a weekend. If this drags on, that resilient single line everyone is talking about is going to start to see some serious bottlenecking.
At least the US and Mexican networks are still clear, right? It's sort of a contained fire for now.
For now, Jules, but it's a momentum killer. You can't win the championship if your special teams are on strike. Hey, look, before we dive into the financial mess we're seeing this week, I want to take a second for a quick note.
Strategic logistics requires world-class engineering, and that's something we value here. This show is powered by The Stack, developed by Eric Christensen at Neural Network Media.
Bottom line, folks, support the architect behind the code. Visit our Patreon at patreon.com/neuralnetworkmedia for a free trial and get access to our daily briefing PDF. It's the playbook you need to stay ahead of the curve.
All right, let's get into the Diesel Dispatch for this Monday, June 1st. It's the segment where we look at the numbers that actually drive the truck, literally.
Look, the big number from the EIA today is $5.52. That's the national retail average for on-highway diesel.
It's down about 7 cents from last week. That's a breath of fresh air, even if it's just a small one.
It's a 7-cent gain on the play, Buck, but we're still looking at crude oil swinging around like a loose cannon. Brent is sitting around $93 a barrel, and even though we're seeing some ceasefire talk in the Middle East, that geopolitical risk premium is still baked into the crust.
Right. The thing is, I'm looking at these distillate inventories. We are at 23-year lows. 100 million barrels. That's it. We haven't been this low since 2003, Dan. Refineries are running at 94% capacity, but they can't catch up.
That's the structural deficit. Shippers are looking at this 7-cent drop and thinking the rally's over. It's not. This is a timeout, not the end of the game. If you aren't indexing your freight spend against this real-time data, you're losing 5 to 8% of your margin every single month.
Exactly. And my thing is, don't let the pump price fool you. The new normal is north of $5 because we lost too much refining capacity back in 25. For the owner-operator, this 7 cents is a temporary relief valve, but the pressure isn't going away.
Diesel Dispatch. That's a wrap. But Buck, I hate to say it, the fuel prices are the least of the worries for some of these big firms. Have you guys seen the wreckage over at Hub Group? This is what I'm calling the brutal filter of 2026.
Is that the accounting error? I heard the CFO and COO are both out.
Out? Jules, they were practically shown the door before the ink was dry on the press release. A $77 million understatement of purchased transportation expenses. $77 million? That's not a rounding error. That's a catastrophic fumble.
Actually, it's a failure of internal controls. When you understate your transportation costs, you're basically lying to yourself and your shareholders about your margins. It makes the company look much healthier than it is while the walls are rotting.
And it's not just the big boys. AGX is suing R.R. Huntington over a frozen credit line. Unpaid carrier invoices? That's the kiss of death for a broker. If you can't pay the drivers, you're done.
It's a liquidity squeeze, Buck. 3 years of high interest rates and thin margins, the credit markets are finally drying up. If you don't have a clean balance sheet, you're getting filtered out. Bottom line.
Well, if the financial filter doesn't get you, the safety filter definitely will. This is the big one today. And frankly, it's what's going to define the rest of this year. We're seeing a great vetting sweep across the entire industry.
This is because of that Supreme Court ruling last month, right? The Caribe transport case?
Precisely. The court basically stripped away the broker shield. For years, brokers hid behind federal preemption, saying, we're just a tech platform. We aren't responsible if the carrier we hire has an accident. The court said, no. You are responsible under state law for negligent hiring.
And now the brokers are terrified. I'm hearing from drivers who woke up to drivers who woke up to non-certified status notifications from C.H. Robinson. Just boom. Your safety scores hit a certain threshold, and you're locked out of the app. No chance to explain, no human to talk to.
It's a total lockout, Buck. They aren't taking the risk. If Robinson or J.B. Hunt hires a guy with a bad basic score and he has a fender bender, they're on the hook for millions now. They'd rather lose the capacity than take the gamble.
But, Buck, what about the MODIS system? Isn't that supposed to help with the vetting?
Oh, sure. It's supposed to stop fraud with facial scans and government ID verification. But the thing is, the system has been in a total blackout state since it launched. Thousands of guys are trying to get verified so they can actually pull these loads, and they're just staring at a loading screen.
Actually, this is a perfect storm of failure. You have the Supreme Court demanding better vetting, you have the FMCSA's tech failing, and you have the brokers purging their carrier lists to avoid lawsuits. You see, the drivers are caught in the middle of a massive liability crunch.
It's a map rewriting event. If you're a small carrier and your scores aren't pristine, your customer base just shrank by 80%. You're playing on a field where the referees are blind, that's MODIS, and the opposing team is suing you for even being on the grass.
It really reminds me of what we cover on our sister show, The Neural Daily, sometimes. You know, when they talk about how these massive automated systems start to fail and it ripples through the whole economy. Except here, it's not just data. It's physical freight that's sitting on the dock because the algorithm says the driver is a risk.
Exactly. My thing is, safety shouldn't be a set-it-and-forget-it algorithm. But in this legal environment, brokers don't feel they have a choice. Compliance isn't a goal anymore. It's the bare minimum for survival.
I remember when a handshake and a clean truck were enough. Now, if your facial scan doesn't match a government database that's currently offline, you can't even pick up a load of toilet paper. The industry's losing its soul to these silicon drivers.
Look, the bottom line is, the brutal filter is real. Finance, regulation, and tech are all hitting the reset button at the same time. If you're still standing by the end of this summer, you've earned it.
That's all for today's High Road, Logistics and Leadership. We've covered everything from the digital border wars in Mexico to the literal great vetting that's locking carriers out of the market. The lesson today is clear. If you aren't auditing your data, your debt, and your drivers, someone else is going to do it for you, and you probably won't like the results.
Bye.
Later!
See ya.
Keep it between the lines.